Shares ending the day down almost 4% today. What's your message to investors this afternoon?
Oh, my message is we had a fantastic quarter at 70% ARR growth at scale. I think it's truly remarkable. We saw an acceleration in customer adds, 1,660 customers. And at the end of the day, we're winning some really big deals and creating a lot of shareholder value. So you're going to see a little noise, maybe short term, and we don't get distracted by that as a management team, and we continue to focus on delivering value for our customers and stopping breaches.
Now, President Biden has been increasingly focused on what's happening in cyberspace on the back of some really high-profile hacks that you and I have talked about over the last year. He just had big tech CEOs from Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, all at the White House talking about how the public and private sectors can cooperate more to combat some of these threats. What was your main takeaway from that meeting? Do you think much will come out of it, and will the private sector indeed step up?
Well, I hope so, and I think it does take a partnership, private sector and public sector, to come together to face these challenging adversaries. And when you look at some of the executive orders that have come down, I think it matches up quite nicely with what Crowdstrike actually can deliver: advanced breach protection and a lot of the technology that we have, leveraging AI to uncover these advanced adversaries. So we're hopeful with the new administration. Obviously, it takes time in the government, but we're also working with them extensively, and we want to be part of the solution.
The president put the burden squarely on private companies for not doing enough to train workers to fill the jobs that are needed across the cyber sector. What did you make of that?
Well, I talked about it in my earnings call. In the cyberspace sector, there's 3 million open jobs, and there's such a shortage in critical skills. And one of the things that I mentioned in our earnings call was Falcon Complete, which is really a force multiplier for companies that allows companies to leverage our Falcon platform, but also allows us to manage the entire life cycle of that, including any remediation action. So that's been a real shining star for us, and I think the skills shortage really highlights the needs for technologies like Falcon Complete.
Now, a lot of the talk, of course, over the last couple of weeks, Afghanistan has dominated the headlines. I just read a headline in the Washington Post, though, that said an undeclared war is breaking out in cyberspace. What do you make of that characterization? Obviously, we've seen heightened threats in cyberspace over the last 12 months. It's perhaps only going to get more extreme, but would you use that terminology?
Well, undeclared, breaking out means that it's just starting. I've been at this for a long time, and it started a long time ago. When you look at the capabilities of some of these nation-state adversaries, what they've been able to do, and how it's even trickled down to some of the e-crime groups, this has been happening for a long time. Even if you go back to 2010 and some of the high-profile breaches, this is an ongoing effort by these governments, corporate espionage. And it's not going to stop. And it's a very effective way to gain information. It's a very effective way to potentially damage and knock out infrastructure of other countries. So we need to be on our A game. And there's a reason why we're out helping big customers, because it's not just governments, but it's also customers that are targets of these nation-state actors.
Does the balance of power changing in the Middle East impact what's happening in cyberspace at all? Are you potentially on alert for new or evolving threats as a result of that?
Well, certainly when you look at the adversaries, we break them down into nation-state e-crime and hacktivism. You might see an uptick in hacktivism. We've seen a lot of activity out of Iran in the past from a Middle East perspective. And, part of the challenge is everything's digital right now, and a lot of the communications by these terrorists are done in encrypted channels. And what does that mean in terms of being able to identify sort of vulnerabilities in infrastructures that are out there? I mean, these are all relevant questions, but at the end of the day, I think the environment continues to worsen from a threat landscape perspective, and it's one of the reasons why customers need to protect themselves.